This race is special. It is unique. You cannot watch anything like it any other time in the year. And it's relative. There are kids and adults who race on dirt tracks all over the country. They can't relate to a Daytona. They don't know what that feels like. They know dirt half miles. And so do many of our fans watching tonight. So what are you in for? What are some of our big storylines to keep your eye on? Well, the two drivers battling for Rookie of the Year in Sprint Cup. They were 1-2 here last year. They are both back. Kyle Larson has had the edge on Austin Dillon on Sundays, but in this race last year, it was Dillon who finished ahead of Larson. But that's what Dillon looked like just a few moments ago. He has not been as strong or as confident as he was in this race last year. Now, if you were just joining us for the first time today, you have missed a lot. If you've been with us all day, you know that our crew has had every minute covered. Eric Jones, he was the fastest in single truck qualifying. He backed it up by winning his heat race. Other heat race winners, Jeff Burton, Ron Hornaday, Ryan Blaney, and Johnny Sauter. There you see Ty Dillon. He has looked very strong. Meanwhile, his brother, we mentioned Austin Dillon, he's driving that number 2 truck. He has struggled, at least by his high dirt standards. Now, we just finished up with the LCQ, the last chance race. The last 5 drivers making it in. The number 14 of Michael Annett gets that final spot. These drivers will be covered in dust and mud. So will our pit reporters. We have 3, Ray Dunlap, Hermie Sadler, and Bob Dillner. Hermie is first, standing by with the boss.
Well, the boss is making his way off the four-wheeler. I'm going to go grab him. Sorry to bother you, but we're on live TV, waiting on you.
Yeah.
Mike said we're on Tony time, but hey, congratulations, first of all, on another great turnout, another great day so far. You had a great race here last year, but you didn't stop there. You did a lot of work on this racetrack. From what you've seen today, what do you think we'll see tonight, and have the improvements made a difference?
Well, last year when we ran the race, pretty much it was dominant right up against the wall on the outside, which has been the trademark Eldora weekly deal. But Roger Slack and Chad Schmidtmeyer, they did a lot of work in the spring and took about 12 to 14 inches of dirt, about the last 8 feet of it up toward the wall, and actually took that off and moved it down to the middle. So it's evened the banking out a little more, which that's the great thing about a dirt track, is we have the ability to change how the racing is and how the track drives. So we just did that to try to give it more grooves. And watching today, the heat races, one heat they were down in the bottom third of the track. The first heat they were clear up on the wall. So the last chance race there, they were 3 different grooves. So that's what we were wanting. We were trying to get it to where it was multiple grooves. But Chad and Larry Bowes and Roger Slack, they've done an awesome job here.
Well, thank you for having us back. We're looking forward to a great show tonight. Ray Dunlap is next. Ray?
Well, Hermie, here's what Tony is talking about. Last year when we raced here at Eldora, the dirt was up to about the bottom of the O right here. So they had a couple of feet of dirt that they had to take a grader and pick up. Well, what are you going to do with it? Well, why not move it right down here and put it in the middle of the racetrack? We used to have a bit of a bowl in the center, and that made the high groove the only place to go. Well, now, as Tony said, it's smoothed out all the way. From up there at the wall down to the inside, we're talking about 80 feet of racing room. And like he said, there's lots of different places to race. Bob Dillner, where do you think they'll be in the groove?
I think they will be all 3 grooves, as Tony said during the race, and that's because of what you talked about. This place, they bill it as 24-degree banking. With those changes, we're seeing about 15 degrees of banking. But here's what these drivers are looking for. If we take a look on the racetrack, you see these dimples right here. You see the shiny black, but that right there, the lighter brown, that means grip. That means speed. Drivers will be searching for these dimples here tonight to go faster on the racetrack. And we always talk about how this is a dirt track. Well, it ain't soft. Take a look at this, folks. This place is hard. Barely make a dent. Krista?
Our reporters are going to need tear-offs tonight for their notes. Coming up, he started the year as our first points leader, but the summer months have not been kind to Timothy Peters. He doesn't have much dirt experience, so is he sweating it out? Remember on Cheers when everyone yells Norm as the bar regular walks in? Well, there's a Norm here in the Truck Series, and when he walked out of here last year, everyone knew his name. And he's only one of 2 drivers to ever win in all 3 divisions in Eldora's 4 Crown Nationals. He finished 1 spot short last year. Now Kyle Larson is back for revenge. Peters is one of the most gentleman-like drivers in the series. Our last race in Iowa, he was nearly unapproachable, losing 20 points and 4 positions in the standings. Has Timothy Peters' championship hopes faded as well?
Uh-oh, we got some problems for Timothy Peters.
Right rear tire. Rear tire's down. A tough break for the championship point leader.
Yeah, these guys very frustrated. A flat right rear tire, as you can see.
Monteroga. Smoke rolling out from underneath the 77.
Trouble in turn number 1. Timothy Peters in the wall.
2 trucks out of the Red Horse Racing stables.
Wow, a lot of damage on that 17 Red Horse truck. Boy, a bad weekend just got a whole lot worse for Timothy Peters.
I let off the gas as soon as I saw her mom blowing and tried to go low to hit the apron, but the oil trail was already started too soon, so I just got into it and just along for the ride, but frustrating, so hopefully this is our one for the year.
Timothy Peters is 6 down to the inside, and Hornaday to his outside.
Clear. So Timothy Peters is going to be able to clear Hornet.
Oh, no, he didn't. He got into the wall. He's in the 17 of Timothy Peters.
That was my fault, guys. I apologize. That was my fault.
Now they get together on the backstretch. Timothy Peters into the back of the truck driven by Ron Hornaday.
Timothy Peters not happy with the way he was being raced.
Wow.
Ron Hornaday came on the radio and said, guys, I lifted and gave him plenty of room.
He was up in the top 5 most of the race, and obviously a chance at a 3rd victory here is taken away from him.
My spotter said clear, you know, don't know whose fault it was, really don't care. I feel like, you know, sometimes in the past when I raced with Ron, I cut him a lot of slack early in the run when I feel like he may crowd me, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, it doesn't matter. I didn't like it. I hated that both of our trucks got tore up, and, you know, that's it.
Because of that misfortune, Timothy Peters has dropped 2nd to 7th in points. You finished 7th here last year on the dirt. Is this the chance, the time to get that reversal of fortune and get back in this championship hunt?
Sure, hope so. You know, we want to get out here and have some fun. We felt like we had a truck that can win tonight. We just keep all the fenders on it, the quarter panel on it, make sure the tires are straight. At the end of 150, I think we'll have a really good finish to start building our points. So if it wasn't for bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck. Looking forward to turning it around, and nothing but great success from here to Homestead.
Timothy Peters is hoping to improve his spot here at Eldora from last year by 6 spots, but Kyle Larson, all he needs to do is improve by 1.
Kyle Larson, he has so much experience on dirt.
I see Kyle Larson out there. He makes it look really easy.
Larson trying to pull the slide chop.
That was impressive.
I've never been really much of a bottom feeder, so I think I'll just let her eat on the fence.
They're side by side and sideways.
Holy cow.
And it's been all Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson, only the 2nd person ever to win 3 divisions in one day here at this track. You got a lot of experience at Eldora, but this racetrack has changed many times today. What do you expect for tonight's race?
I'm not really too sure what to expect. I think the top will get faster as we go. I think in the beginning it'll be kind of anywhere you want to run, and you can go forward, or it'll be tough to go forward because there'll be so many people in front of you running different lines. But I think throughout the race, the top will get better as the track kind of cleans off and gets less dusty. So just got to keep an eye on that. Who knows? I might be wrong, but got some work to do. I don't feel like we've been very good all day, and been struggling with forward drive quite a bit. So just try and stay out of trouble in the first part and inch our way forward, and then you know, try and gain some ground throughout the race.
You finished 2nd last year to Austin Dillon. Who do you think your biggest competition will be tonight?
I think Ty Dillon's looked really good, as well as Reddick, and then Eric Jones will be pretty good too. So I think those 3 guys will definitely be the ones to beat, and I think we're close to them. So you just gotta, you know, make some adjustments probably throughout the race, and hopefully we can get better and you know, have some good restarts. That'll be, you know, key, because track position's gonna be important because it's kind of hard to pass. So just gotta keep an eye on everything, stay out of trouble, and hopefully get a win.
He starts 11th tonight. His sponsor is glad. Hopefully he'll be glad when the race is over. Krista?
Yeah, he is here to win and making a pit stop. Plus, it was the feel-good moment of last year's event as an unlikely hero emerged. Norm Benning isn't a news story, but boy, is it a good one. Norm Benning is one to watch. Maybe not because he's picked to win, but because he is picked to race his heart out. Welcome back to Eldora Speedway. And just a few moments ago, the last 5 drivers made the field for tonight's feature, including Norm Benning. Last year, it was the stellar moment when the Truck Series' oldest driver raced for 5th like his life depended on it.
They make contact. Norm sideways.
Step up and you got him. Step up and you got him.
I think that one moment is what it really meant to everybody to be at Eldora.
Come on, Norm.
Probably the most unlikely star of the inaugural truck race at Eldora was Norm Benning. A native of the Steel City all his life, Norm has always raced with metal in his veins. As owner, driver, and mechanic, Norm has never done anything the easy way.
I've been told that Pennsylvania has more racetracks than any other state in the country, and I've raced at all of them. It was almost too easy back then, so I decided to go the NASCAR route and found out that it doesn't matter a whole lot how much talent you have. If you don't have the equipment and sponsorship, you're not going to win races.
Most race teams hold their competition meetings in a conference room. Norm holds his at the local Greasy Spoon.
A lot of race fans go up there, they're there every morning, and when they see me coming, they want to talk about the race the week before. See ya. I have a lot of supporters in this area.
Norm's crew is one of the most cost-effective on the circuit. They're volunteers who just love to race.
There's a lot of people involved to make this thing happen. We need the seat, the fuel lines, radiator, and then we got to set it up.
This is all volunteer. We all do it just because we love it.
I'd come over Thursday and Friday.
It worked out last year.
In 2013, the most highly anticipated NASCAR race was not Daytona, not Indy, and not Bristol. It was Eldora.
I know going in there that money doesn't mean a whole lot, and that's what I really liked about it is what's between the seat and the steering wheel could make a big difference.
Everybody's got their eye on Norm. They want to see if he can race his way into this feature, but he's in a bind right now.
The last chance race is for the non-qualifiers, and they took the top 5 finishers out of that last chance race.
There goes Norm. He got up in there, didn't he? He made it.
And they threw the green, found a hole there in 5th place, and just hung on.
Here comes Blake Greenfield. He puts the bumper to the 57 again. 2 laps of racing to go.
Clay used his truck up trying to put me into the parking lot. He kept hoping he could knock me out of the race, but I was pretty determined not to go home.
Oh, he's going for it. Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no!
I actually used the wall to get around the corner.
You got him. You got him. You got him.
Come on, Norm. Hangs on.
Yes.
Yeah!
Norm was not going to be denied. You can hear the crowd. They're louder than they've been all night.
The greatest part of that whole deal was when I drove into the infield and I was surrounded by all these crews.
Hey, wait, Norm!
Tony Stewart was the first one in the truck. He said, Norm, you just made this show a success.
He had no clue how big a moment that was. He got out of the truck and guys from 5 different teams immediately started taking the truck, and he didn't know what was going on and why they were doing what they were doing. Norm just put it all out there on the line, and he's not a guy that has a big budget. He doesn't have a lot of funding. He just drove the daylights out of it.
Out of a 2-car garage behind his own house, Norm works day and night in hopes of shining again at Eldora.
Well, it's 7:30 in the morning till you can't stand up anymore. You have to love this sport to put in the hours that we put in. Just kind of hold it where it's right at the edge of that. Still have to put the overflow tank on. I live for those moments when I'm competitive and people notice I can drive these things. It's not often you get a racetrack like that on a schedule where you can shine. I know I can win that race.
And what a story it would be if he did. There you see Norm's numbers. Norm has been a staple here in the Truck Series. He's here every week, digging, scratching, and clawing. He certainly will have some fans yelling for him in the stands tonight. Nobody more excited to be here than the driver of that number 6 truck, Norm Benning. Taking a look at our points. Yes, this is a points race. Now, we mentioned that Timothy Peters dropped down to 7th after our last race in Iowa. Ben Kennedy moving up. So did Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney now just 2 points behind leader Matt Crafton. Matt Crafton replaces Johnny Sauter at the top of our standings. Fans cannot wait for this race. They've been here all day watching practice, qualifying, heat races, the last chance race. Now they can't wait for these 3 final segments. The second Mud Summer Classic. There you see some of the numbers. They have come from all over this country and beyond. Canada, as far as Australia, Great Britain, and Sweden. That is what Eldora Speedway tweeted moments ago. We were joking because they just put my tweet up on the big screen here. Darrell Wallace was having a little fun with us here on the pre-race show as well. They're in for quite a treat. Before NASCAR raced on pavement, the sport was running in the dirt. That was the 1940s. Now we're back. A return to NASCAR's roots, and we can't wait. Tonight's pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the American Legion Post 648 honor time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome the Grand Marshal for tonight's 1-800 Car Cash Mud Summer Classic, Sales Manager for Camping World of Indianapolis, Paul Stickle.
Drivers, start your engine!
And the engines have fired, and that means the fans are fired up for 150 laps, 75 miles from Eldora Speedway. We're back on the dirt, which means anyone can win at a racetrack like this, Michael.
Well, you got to have dirt experience to win, right? No, that's not true. Eric Jones never run a dirt race. He's sitting on the pole. You got to start near the front, right? Well, the Dillon boys are both outside of the top 10. Austin qualified 19th last year and won. You can't have hit the wall, possibly, and win this race, right? Well, if that's the case, we're not going to have a winner because everybody down there has already run into the wall. This race promises to be one of the most exciting, intense races of the year. It's awesome here at Eldora.
And strategy has to come into play. Obviously, when we come to a dirt track, we've changed the rules a little bit. They don't have to come to pit road on these competition cautions.
Yeah, they really don't. We also have Kyle Larson said, I don't know where the best place to run is. Yeah. I normally run up top. That's what worked last year, but we saw some speed down at the bottom and in the middle. So nobody really knows exactly what they're going to have to do to get around this racetrack quickly, and they're going to have to maneuver around it. They're going to have to change. They're going to have to start on the bottom maybe and move up, or vice versa. And there is some strategies. You mentioned we changed the rules. You do not have to pit during the competition cautions. Everybody I talked to in the garage area said we're not pitting on that last competition caution because we want track position. We don't think that we can make it on fuel the whole way, or it might be too close. So we'll probably stop between the first and second segment, but the last segment, we're going to be out there for the last 2 segments without stopping.
It's going to be exciting.
This is such a great track. It's dirt, obviously. The banking in the corners progressive. Tony Stewart and his staff have done an amazing job working these corners in. They took some of the banking out up top, so that's why I think we saw the bottom groove maybe have a bit of advantage at times during the course of the day. But when Kyle Larson says he doesn't know where he's going to run, he's one of the best dirt racers of the country. I guess we're all looking, are going to be surprised to see how this thing turns out.
All the drivers have options as we continue to look at our Camping World track description and race analysis. 150 laps, 75 miles. 3 separate segments, and this year you do not have to come in on those competition cautions.
I think, like Phil said, I think these guys will all pit the first time and they won't the next time. They got to have that track position late.
Trucks begin to roll. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, when you think about coming to Eldora, there's so much excitement about being here and all the hoopla surrounding this event. It gives it almost an all-star race feel. But we got to remember that this is a points-paying event tonight at Eldora. We've got a championship battle, and a good one at that, in the Camping World Truck Series. Look at our top 5 in the points and where they start tonight. Some drivers start towards the front, some closer to the back. They have to make their way to the front. Different varying skills in dirt racing. And that will help their chances, and somebody will hurt their chances to win a championship tonight here at Eldora. Ray?
Hermie, Kyle Busch Motorsports has won 10 of the last 14 races, and Toyota has had a stranglehold on this series. But tonight, I think Chevrolet might be in the catbird seat. They have loaded up their guns here this weekend. They've got some great drivers. How about Kyle Larson, who finished second last year? The Dillon brothers are here, and many more. But I'm going to have my eye on Ron Hornaday tonight. He's a 51-time winner, 4-time champion, and he's won the most races ever on short tracks. He's never won on dirt, and if he could win tonight at Eldora, he might just erase that 23-point deficit. Right now, he's 5th in points. Bob Dillner?
Ray, everybody dreams of winning here on the dirt at Eldora. But for J.R. Hefner, it's just a dream come true just to make the race. Last year, he was one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack and failed to make the big dance. Today, he's in the show. He starts 16th. He's 42 years old and is a track champion at Lebanon Valley Speedway in New York. But tonight's race means a lot to him because he believes he has a challenging truck for the victory here today. It would be a Cinderella story for J.R. Hefner. Guys?
Thanks, Bob. A great story for J.R. Hefner as he is making his first start in the Camping World Truck Series. We're going to ride along with a few different trucks. We have some great camera positions, and some of those are right inside these trucks.
Yeah, this is a young man that's the only NASCAR winner on dirt since 1970. Austin Dillon won this race last year. He will try to take that American Ethanol Chevy back to victory lane for the second time, and he starts in the same spot. 19th as last year.
Hey, boys, good job. We'll roll up through there, stay in it all night. I've won it from here. We're going to do it again.
Pretty confident, is he? How about we hop on board with 21-year-old Kyle Larson from California. He's won here at Eldora in midgets, in sprint cars, in Silver Crown cars, but he wants this truck win. He was second here a year ago. He'll roll off 11th in the Glad Chevy.
Tyler Reddick was the youngest driver to ever start the World 100 late model race here a couple years ago. And he's looking for a victory here at Eldora. And he will start his Broken Bow records forward from the 8th spot.
Joey Coulter starts 7th in the Allegiant Chevy. He ran 4th here a year ago. Not a lot of dirt experience. Look for him to build on that 4th place finish, though.
One thing very unique with dirt track racing around the country at short tracks all across America is a 4-wide salute to the fans. This is for the fans that come out and enjoy dirt track racing week in and week out. And this one's NASCAR style. 4 wide as they parade around this half-mile historic dirt track.
I'm not sure they won't race like this.
It will probably end up 4 wide for position at the drop of the green flag. But the fireworks are flying early, and they're going to fly once again when the green flag goes in the air. But right now it's the salute to the fans, and the fans all on their feet appreciating what all these drivers have been able to do all day and are getting ready to do for the next 150 laps at Eldora Speedway.
That's quite a sight, isn't it, guys?
That's amazing.
I love all the phones. Everyone had their phone up as the 4 wide went by the grandstands all the way around this racetrack,
including us,
as well as you guys.
How cool is our sport of NASCAR racing? We're at a half-mile dirt track in Ohio, and this place is packed. There's standing room only. So many wonderful fans. And I want to tell you, if you play a game with your buddies at home when you got to punch somebody when a word's said, I think today's punch word was fun. I mean, the drivers will hit the wall and spin out and come in and say, man, we're just having so much fun. This race is going to be a lot of fun.
And it's about to get underway. It's the 2nd annual Mud Summer Classic from Eldora Speedway. It had been 43 years since NASCAR had raced on dirt prior to last year's race. And Austin Dillon came from the 19th starting position to grab the trophy and history.
You know, we talk about the diverse schedule that our drivers are faced with in the truck series. They're going to run a road course. We're on dirt here. They run Daytona. They run Talladega. Rick, I can't believe how much this place reminds me of Daytona and Talladega. I know it's a half mile. I know it's dirt, but they're going to be 4 wide. We're talking about J.R. Hefner, a guy that hasn't even been around, maybe having a truck to win the race with. There's so many different stories stretched throughout that whole field, and it's going to be an intense 150 laps.
J.R. Hefner could be the next John King. Remember when John King won at Daytona out of nowhere? Next thing you know, John King is a winner in the Camping World Truck Series. Could we have another first-time winner?
And who knows what the stories will be when this night's over. Last year, it was Norm Benning racing his way in through the last chance race and having a chance to be in this event. What will be the story we talk about for a year to come after this race is over tonight?
Eric Jones is going to choose the outside for this initial start. That's where he thinks the most grip is going to be. Rick, 4,178 days ago, you called us to green at Daytona for your first ever time. Let's do it again.
It's been a great run, guys.
I've never enjoyed anything anymore in my whole life than I have working with you guys up here. This is just the best racing that we have in NASCAR, in my opinion, and you do a great job of helping us call this race, Rick.
Well, I'm glad we have fun week in and week out. And once again, the hard left turn by the pace truck. That puts the field in the hands of Eric Jones on the high side coming out of turn number 4. Green flag in the air. We're underway from Eldora. You guessed it. 4 wide as they go down the backstretch for position.
Matt Crafton was on the bottom of the racetrack and Kyle Larson went underneath him.
Matt Crafton thought he was on the bottom of the racetrack. And I see 4 wide, 2 or 3 rows back.
The field working their way through lap number 1 and on to 2. Eric Jones out in front. Jeff Burton running in the 2nd spot. The 30 of Ron Hornaday holding tough on the bottom of the racetrack in 3rd.
I think Kyle Larson gave up getting underneath Matt Crafton on the bottom. Matt was down there the whole time.
Crafton hugging that inside line, trying to hold on to that position near the top 10.
I just don't see how they do it. I don't see how they don't wreck every lap. They're all over one another.
See Ty Dillon, that 3 truck in the middle. Kyle Larson now has moved up to the top. Now he's going to drive down in the middle and follow that 3 car. This is Tyler Reddick's number 19 truck with Kenny Schrader, the 52, right behind him.
And right beside him is Joey Coulter. You see the Allegiant Chevy there. Coulter's trying to make ground on the inside.
7th, 8th, and 9th, all right there. As we look back on Reddick. Here comes Ty Dillon in the 3, working that bottom line once again, hugging that inside wall, trying to find some grip as he races with Joey Coulter in the 21.
Meanwhile, while all this is going on, we have a guy that's never run a race on dirt before out in the lead, Eric Jones.
Eric Jones staying out of dirt races, wanting to make this one his first ever dirt start. And he's been impressive since the drop of the green flag, earlier today.
You know, it's real important at this point in the race, guys. You don't want to do something early that's going to hurt your chances for the whole night. Get into the outside wall a little too hard, knock your toe off, knock a fender in. That could end your night. So you got to have a little bit of patience here early in the going. And I know that sounds silly to say, considering they were 4 wide, but you better tiptoe a bit.
This first segment is a 60-lap segment. We break it into 3 segments, 60, 50, and 40. So the longest segment starts us off. Then, as you mentioned, Phil, the strategy will come into play. Will they come onto pit road right after that first segment, or will they wait until after the second segment? They don't have to come onto pit road at any time. They will hold their position once the yellow flag has come out, but if you stay out on the track, you keep that track position.
And if you do come to pit road, you come off of pit road in the lineup that you were on the racetrack, other than the people that stayed out. You will start behind them.
But I think that a lot of the guys are concerned about having enough fuel to stay on the track for the whole race. So word in the pit area was that we'll see pit stops after the first break, but then everybody will stay on the track after.
How difficult is it to not make a mistake on a discipline that's so different from what most of these drivers do?
These guys are going to hit the wall 10, 15 times this race. They're going to scrape the wall. They've already worn the right rear quarter panels off of these trucks.
And we've seen guys like Kyle Larson, who's great on dirt, has spun in practice earlier today.
In the first practice session, 4 of the 5 fastest trucks all spun out. And then the fastest truck that did spin out in the first one spun out in the second one.
Ty Dillon in the 3s up to 13th. He's moved up 6 positions from his initial start. It's Eric Jones out in front of the field at Eldora.
And once
the battle for the lead happens again. Eric Jones in front of the 13 of Jeff Burton. Burton has been peeking to the inside, trying to steal that top spot. The top 4 nose to tail.
How about Bubba Wallace now looks to the inside of the 30 of Hornaday. That's a battle for the 3rd spot.
These 4 have been staying right up against the wall. Only Jeff Burton has ventured down to the inside trying to find some grip. And that time by, it looked as though the 30 of Hornaday may have bounced off the wall. But the 13 holding on to second, right?
Jeff Burton told me earlier that they get a lot of air pressure gain, and it hurts their stagger on his Estes Toyota. So he said he'd really like to change tires on this first pit stop. He said, if we can change tires, I think I can run the last couple segments and stay up there and keep my track position. Hermie?
Well, Ron Hornaday so far is having just the kind of night that he needs. He's coming off a disappointing 21st place finish at Iowa. He's not really known to be a dirt racing superstar, but I tell you right now, he's up in the 3rd position, really moving the truck around to find more grip. He has been quiet on the radio so far, Bob.
Well, Hermie, Ty Dillon is on a mission. He was just told by his team that he has the fastest truck on the racetrack and to take care of it. He has moved all the way back from 13th to a top 5 running spot right now. And Ty told me there's a big difference from this year to last year. Last year he was running for points. Today he's got nothing to lose, guys.
Out there having fun and looking very impressive as he has broken into the top 5 now. Just a couple laps ago, Ron Hornaday, I thought he may have slapped the wall coming out of turn number 4. Did more than that. He hit it pretty hard.
Yeah, he was racing pretty hard. That's Bubba Wallace to his inside. You see Ron bouncing off the wall and never lost a position. Still maintains that 3rd spot.
That's a great battle for the lead. But, guys, we've got battles all over the racetrack. These trucks are side by side and bouncing off of one another from 1st to 30th, it looks like.
Kyle Larson just made the move by the 21 of Joey Coulter to move up to the 9th spot.
That 3rd position still in jeopardy for Ron Hornaday as we look back on Kyle Larson in the 32. Ryan Blaney in the 29 also got into the wall, but this time it's Jeff Burton making the pass on the 51, and the 35 of Mason Mingus goes around, but we stay green.
Mason gets it rolling, so we are going to stay green. Looks like Bubba Wallace is also going to get around the 51 truck.
So the 51 truck falling off the pace a bit now as Jeff Burton has gotten by. Hornaday's been by.
They got a flat.
And now the 51 is falling back even further as we see the 3 of Ty Dillon going by. What's going on, Ray?
Eric Jones just came on the radio and said the right rear is going down. Right rear going down, and the yellow flag is out. That'll be a big break for him.
Caution does come out. We saw that right rear go down, completely down.
Yeah, truck isn't going to go away that fast. He fell right from the lead outside back to the 5th spot, and then finally the tire completely went down and around the win.
Boy, I've been so impressed though with Ty Dillon. What a march he's made since the drop of the green flag. Well up into the top 5, then obviously takes over the 4th spot with Eric Jones' problem.
Kyle Larson also making a move. He's up into the 6th position when this caution comes out. Take a look at the ride Eric Jones had though as that right rear tire went away.
What about Johnny Sauter? Okay, how's this going to end well for me? Seems slide that right front or left front tire.
Tyler Reddick watching as he makes it into turn 3.
When Johnny stops because he doesn't know exactly what Eric Jones is going to do, watch Tyler Reddick just turn left and drive by them both.
So the first caution comes out. Eric Jones will have to make his way onto pit road and change that right rear. Third for the Bud Summer Classic. Reason for the caution is the 51 of Eric Jones. The right rear tire goes away on that one, and around he goes.
Does a nice job not getting it in the outside wall. Johnny Sauter does a great job avoiding him.
Ray, he came to pit road.
Yeah, they put a right rear on that, and you can see right here, guys, there's a cut right in this tire. They filled it back up with air, and it is blowing out right there. So that was the problem. He obviously ran over something, and NASCAR has told them they can go get another tire to replace this one.
Well, this would be fun to watch. Jones has been impressive in his first dirt race ever. Started on the pole, held the lead. Now he gets to come from the back and see what he can do.
Jeff Burton chooses the outside line. Ron Hornaday will start on the inside. Ty Dillon, as we mentioned, the man on the move up into the top 4. He'll start 4th. Darrell Wallace Jr. in the 3rd position on the inside of row number 2. Coming out of turn number 4, 2 by 2 they go once again. And the green flag back in the air.
Boy, a slow restart here. Look at trucks on the inside. You're not allowed to do that. Saw some trucks on the inside. Passing look like J.R. Hefner. I'm sure the NASCAR officials will monitor that. Take a look at it.
Take a look and see if he gives the position back. They bottled up. Looked like, as you mentioned, a slow restart for Jeff Burton and the 30 of Hornaday. Hornaday has the lead as they cross the stripe. He's got the high line and trying to take the lead away from Jeff Burton.
NASCAR is waving the black flag at some truck. I think it's the 63 of J.R. Hefner for that start. So that'll be very costly for J.R. A truck we thought could contend for possibly a top 5 finish, even the win. He was passing before the start finish line. That's not allowed.
There's J.R. right there. He will have to make his way to pit road, and a lot of people are running down there right on the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to be right in the line as he comes to pit road here. So drivers behind him are going to have to be heads up here.
Yeah, there's no hand out that window too, Phil. So if he tries to go down pit road right now,
he's got a truck all over his back bumper. It's not going to happen this time by. Still up front, Ron Hornaday has the top spot. Here comes Jeff Burton once again, looking to the inside.
What a coaching job Tracy Hines has done for this young man today, huh? Tracy's a dirt track champion, winner, and I heard him talking Jeff through a lot of practice today, and Jeff listened well, and look at him leading the race. Oh, got a spinner. It's Eric Jones.
Eric Jones around again, right in front of the flag stand. Caution comes out.
Holy cow, I cannot believe he didn't hit anything or nobody hit him. Did you see that?
It looked like Brian Silas might have got a piece of the wall, or possibly the 51 truck there, but
as he was spinning. Caution comes out again for Eric Jones. That was coming off turn number 4.
Well, he spun and got the pole. Maybe he's going to spin and win, huh?
Around he went.
Oh, Silas into the outside wall.
Possibility of Brian Silas getting the wall, definitely.
Take off on the adventure of the summer and fly in for savings at Camping World, the nation's #1 retailer for RVs and outdoor accessories. Camping World offers one-stop shopping with interest rates at decade lows. Towable RVs starting at $99.95 and payments as low as $109 a month. Plus, buy an RV from us and gain access to our Good Sam Elite loyalty program. Whatever you need, Camping World comes to the rescue.
Awesome!
Call, click, or visit your local Supercenter today and see Disney's Planes, Fire and Rescue in theaters in 3D July 18th.
KFC $5 fill-up. Couple pieces of chicken, gigantic mashed potatoes.
A biscuit and a cookie and a drink. You can eat the cookie first if you want. If you feel that way.
It's your choice. It's amazing.
Every summer, my Nana sends me a check for $5. It's a pain to cash, but when I do, I can buy all of this for $5. I need to write her a thank you letter.
Yeah, you probably should have done that way long ago. Let's chow down. Spork.
This is Bob. Bob's on a first date, so he's not thinking about where to buy his next set of tires. But if he were, all he'd need to know is TireRack.com. They stock over 1 million tires and can have yours shipped to a trusted, independent, recommended installer in as little as 1 business day. But Bob's not thinking about tires. Bob's thinking, should I tell her about that thing in her teeth? TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
Efficiency, performance, safety, integrated technology. These are things you can learn. And then there are the things you're just born with. Now, well-qualified lessees can lease a well-equipped Dart SXT for $149 per month or get $2,000 cash allowance.
Under our second caution from Eldora Speedway, One Summer Classic. Out in front of this field, it's Ron Hornaday. Jeff Burton has been all over his back bumper. 40 of the 60 first segment laps have been complete. Currently running back in the 6th spot is Tyler Reddick. Here's what his team had to say about the preferred lines around this racetrack.
The 3's really the only truck that was moving there, Tyler. The 32 kept trying some pretty massive slide jobs, diving all the way to the bottom of both corners, but he'd just lose the run by the middle. So right now it seems like the top's still the place. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know if anything changes.
So the top seems to be the place, at least that's what the communications from the 19 team are saying. And right behind him, 32 of Kyle Larson.
And this truck hasn't made a whole lot of progress. I think everybody's a bit surprised he hasn't gone better than he has. What are they saying down there in Schrader's pit, Bob?
Well, Mikey, honestly, Kenny Schrader hasn't said a word on the radio. I spoke to his crew chief, Donnie Richardson, and he believes everything is A-OK. But I think you got to go back to experience here. Schrader has won 4 times on this racetrack in different race cars. He's got that experience. And Schrader told me earlier today, there's only one lap that pays the big bucks, and that's the last lap, guys.
Jeb Burton, Ron Hornaday, making up row number 1. Once again, the field coming out of 4. We're back to racing.
Much more sanitary restart there. Everybody on the front straightaway 2 by 2, but when they get on the back straightaway, that all changes.
Still side by side for the lead. Here comes Ty Dillon looking to the inside of that 30 as well, fighting for second now.
How about Jeb Burton with a strong power move and a power slide.
Ron Hornaday working to the inside. He's going to try to take it back. He'll slide in front of the 13, and here comes the 13 right back as they go down the backstretch.
Ooh, Jeb tried to turn under Hornaday, got really loose. That's going to open the door for Bubba Wallace on the outside.
Darrell Wallace Jr. running that 54 right on the high line up against the wall, and he's got Ty Dillon all over his back bumper.
Bubba had never run dirt before he came here last year. Ended up with a top 10 finish.
Man, he's got a strong truck tonight. I think he's going to be able to make a run on Hornaday here pretty quickly.
Darrell Wallace Jr. following right in his tire tracks. We see Kyle Larson working around the 98 of Johnny Sauter. Sauter trying that lower line.
Yeah, Kyle Larson all the way up to the 6th spot. To Jeb Burton, the 13 truck, Ty Dillon, the 3 truck, fighting for the 3rd spot. Looks like Jeb has it for now.
The high line, the preferred line right now. We'll see how many start to dive down to see if they can steal a position away. As we've completed 46 laps of the 60 in this first segment. 14 to go in this first segment.
Bubba's wanting that lead, isn't he?
He can taste it.
We'll have a competition caution at lap 60. And once again, the battle continues between Hornaday and Darrell Wallace Jr. for the lead.
You know, one thing we haven't said a whole lot about is the fact that Toyotas have won every single race this year. Kyle Busch Motorsports, that Bubba Wallace drives for, has won 7 as he goes for the lead.
Slide job on Ron Hornaday. Is he going to make it stick? He's got the outside line. Here comes Hornaday on the inside. He leads that lap, and Hornaday trying to steal that position back right up against the wall, and into the wall goes Darrell Wallace Jr. to fight back for that lead.
Rick, how many times have you said into the wall and takes the lead? And that's exactly what Bubba Wallace did around the outside of Hornaday. What a power move by Bubba Wallace.
Darrell Wallace Jr. got the lead, didn't want to give it back up. Hornaday fighting for it on the inside. But now it's Hornaday back to second. Jeb Burton in the 3rd spot. Ty Dillon 4th. Tyler Reddick is 5th.
Ray talked about how Chevy really stacked the field coming here. They have Kyle Larson here, Ty Dillon, Austin Dillon, guys that don't normally run these truck races, and we have a Toyota up front with Bubba Wallace.
I'm really impressed with that 3 truck, though, of Ty Dillon. Phil, he had that thing hung out all through practice, really running the high line, and early in this race, he's one of the fastest trucks as well.
Another Toyota that's up in the top 10. Johnny Sauter running in the 7th spot, right?
And Rick, you remember a year ago, he got wrecked early in the race, ended up finishing 29th. Sauter knows he needs a good points race tonight, so he's keeping an eye on that. But right now, he just has a really, really touchy throttle. He said every time he touches the throttle, it feels like the rear wheels are spinning all the way through the corner. They're going to pull a couple spring rubbers out on our first pit stop.
They are, Ray.
Yeah, the rear wheels are spinning all the way through the corner.
You know, it'd be interesting to see Kyle Larson. You can see on the high side there behind Tyler Reddick. Kyle's starting to make some moves. He's pulled up to the 6th spot. Looks like he's got a fast truck in the long run along with Kenny Schrader. He's starting to try to make some passes on the bottom of the track.
You see Tyler Reddick? We're riding along with Tyler Reddick as he was looking back on Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson holding on to that 6th spot. Herbing
Well, Rick, Kyle Larson started to make a move towards the front. He started back in the 11th position. It took him about 15 or 20 laps to find a lane that he could make some traffic up, make some ground up in the middle of the traffic. He's found some grip around the middle part of the racetrack, and he's making his way towards the front. Been very quiet on the radio. He, like everybody else, is planning to stop at lap 60 and then stay on the racetrack to the very, very end. So the changes they make on that 32 truck need to be good. He's dropped back now to the 6th position.
Great battle here for the 2nd spot. Remember, that's going to result in who will restart on the front row here. Whoever can win this battle for the 2nd spot after the first competition caution.
Jeff Burton down to the bottom of the track. Here comes Ty Dillon trying to make it 3 wide for that 2nd position.
Phil, that's provided that no one stays out.
Right.
You could have trucks stay out and say, heck, I think we can make it all the way. We got to take a chance. Could be some strategy played on this first stop.
And that may be exactly what somebody like Eric Jones does, who spun out now, lost all his track position. He's made his way back up to the 15th spot, but he may try to make something happen that way.
Ron Hornaday still holding on to 2nd. Ty Dillon has moved up into that 3rd spot now. Jeff Burton back to 4th, and Ty Dillon looking to the inside of the 30.
Get awfully close to the end of this first segment. Just completed lap number 58.
Talked about how important it is to have a truck for the good for the long run. Look at Kenny Schrader. He's trying to take away the 7th spot from Johnny Sauter racing beside Ryan Blaney, but Schrader's truck's hooked up. Not many people being able to make moves down on the bottom, but Schrader's doing it.
Schrader trying to find some of that grip that everyone's been searching for here at Eldora. Looking for it in the middle of the track.
Oh,
looking for 2nd. Ty Dillon takes the position away from Hornaday. Hornaday into the wall, and that will allow the 13 of Jeff Burton to get by.
You said it right, Rick. Takes that position away from Ron Hornaday. That's exactly what Ty Dillon did. He just forced the issue and was able to get away with it.
We're on the 60th lap. This is the length of the first segment. We would expect a competition caution when the race leader gets back to the start-finish line. Right now, that is Darrell Wallace Jr., who is out in front. He crosses the start-finish line. Still racing for positions. We got Ty Dillon back in 2nd. Jeff Burton, Ron Hornaday, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Johnny Sauter, Ken Schrader, Ryan Blaney, Timothy Peters, your top 10.
NASCAR will let the whole field cycle past the start-finish line and then throw that competition caution somewhere around
there it is.
60. There it is.
Just before the race leader got back to the start-finish line, the competition comes out. Now, once again, the way the field is frozen when this competition caution comes out, they can choose to come onto pit road. The positions that they're in, they will stay in no matter how long they're on pit road. They will restart in those same positions, but the people who stay out on the track will be able to gain that track position if they choose not to come to pit road.
Think we're going to have some takers on staying out?
Oh, I don't know. Some guys that want to try to push the issue to get a little track position, quite possibly.
I mean, think about Eric Jones, like you said. Matt Crafton's been very solid running back in the 16th spot. John West Townley hanging right in there. I don't know for sure, Phil, if I wasn't some of those trucks that show some speed in the longer run, I wouldn't just have to stay out and take a chance.
I don't know about Matt Crafton. He's our point leader. Does he want to take a chance of running out of fuel when he's going to bypass a couple opportunities to put fuel in?
It would be a big gamble. Michael Alfarano, who was a lap down, will get that lap back from this caution.
And now everybody on the track is on the lead lap.
Everybody's on the lead lap.
And still running. All 30 trucks still running on the lead lap.
So once the field is all in line, according to the scoring monitor, everyone is in their position single file. They will have the opportunity to come to pit road.
I love it. I love this race. I love these trucks on dirt. I love the decisions that have to be made. How are we going to win this race?
Here's the strategy right here we talked about at the top of the show. I still think the right play right here is to come down pit road, and this be the last time you come down pit road.
And pit road is now open. So the opportunity is available for everyone on the track. And race leader Darrell Wallace Jr. makes the hard left turn. Bob Dillner.
Ken Schrader will bring his number 52 car to the attention of his team down there. And that truck right now needs a little bit better drive up off is what the team is telling me. So they're going to make some adjustments on that truck as he comes to a stop in his pit stall right there. And you see that they will do a 4-tire change on Ken Schrader's truck. Hermie?
Bob, it's been a frustrating season for Turner Scott Motorsports right now. Ron Hornaday and Kyle Larson running up front for this team. Very same agenda for both of these trucks, the 30 and the 32. 4 tires and wedge in both trucks. Ray?
Jeff Burton said he definitely wants to change tires. He talked about how he was getting a lot of air pressure gain. They will definitely do that. At the very front of the field, we also have Bubba Wallace in. Bubba said, you got to check the right front fender for me, guys, because I got into Hornaday pretty decent there. They put Sunoco fuel in it and 4 brand new Goodyear Eagles. They'll get him ready to go back to the racetrack. And they're checking that front fender to make sure there's plenty of clearance. And right now, Bubba says you don't have to make any adjustments. This truck is absolutely on rails.
Well, a couple of guys took a chance, including our point leader, Matt Crafton. He stayed out.
Unbelievable. Shaking it up early.
Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio, and we've already seen a lot of action. Kyle Larson, one of the guys we said would be a factor, would be one to watch. He's been working his way from the back of the field. When we talked to him before the race started, he said he really didn't feel like he necessarily had it figured out the way he did last year. Well, he certainly made it look like he does right now in that 32 truck coming up through the field and doing a heck of a job so far in this first segment, standing on top of the building here overlooking the front stretch at Eldora Speedway. And if you've been joining us throughout the day, you've heard us talk a lot about the voice of our series, our leader, Rick Allen. You've probably figured out by now, this is Rick's last Truck Series race. At the drivers meeting today, he was honored and recognized, all of the drivers thanking him for everything he's done for the sport, for the series. Now, Rick is not going far. He'll be still at the racetrack. He'll actually be calling Sprint Cup races for NBC. We are excited for his opportunity. Rick being very humble there with the drivers and the fans. But I will say we are excited for him, and we know that no other group in television probably has as much fun as we have here in the Truck Series, and Rick is a big part of that. Like I said, you've been our leader, the voice of the series for the last 12 years. You will most certainly be missed.
Well, thank you, Krista. I really appreciate that. It was quite humbling and an honor to be announced at the Truck Series drivers meeting, and everyone stood up, and I was a little bit embarrassed by that, but it's been a great time, and I think it's the people. Obviously, working with you two guys has been, you know, the greatest thing I've ever done. So I've had a phenomenal time. You guys have been like brothers, and you're fun.
We're going to miss you.
Around.
We're going to miss you, but you're not going to go far. But we're going to miss being up here with you like we have been for a long time.
Like Krista said, you're our leader. You set the tone for how these broadcasts go, and Phil and I just like to have fun with you and enjoy these races. I think the fans at home can tell this is good stuff, and we've really got it made because of the fact that these trucks put on such a great show. And thank you for making the last 12 years so special for me.
It's a lot of fun, I'll tell you that much, and we're going to have a lot more fun. We still have 90 laps taking place from right here at Eldora. Now let's go to Will Silva in Los Angeles. Welcome back as we're getting ready for segment number 2. This one will be 50 laps for the Camping World Truck Series in the Mud Summer Classic from Eldora Speedway. Out in front of the field, Darrell Wallace Jr. and Ty Dillon. Darrell Wallace Jr. chose the outside line. Green flag back in the air.
4 or 5 different ideas on where the grip's going to be.
NASCAR, in the interest of safety, Rick, put the first 15 trucks on pit road, didn't allow Matt Crafton 16th on back to come to pit road. So that's why Crafton didn't pit the first time by. He eventually came to pit road, and that's why the lineup is back to how we saw it when we left.
The strategy was to come onto pit road, that competition caution, and everyone took advantage of it.
Look at Ron Hornaday. Remember, Ty Dillon kind of used Ron up a little bit when he made his way by him.
I can tell Ron remembers it. And look at Jeff Burton.
He's reminding Ty Dillon of it. The caution comes out.
Kyle Larson bounced off the fence about the time the caution flag came out.
Kyle had got up into the 5th position. Johnny Sauter was 6th.
Don't worry about that, though. Kyle's done that a bunch today, and he's going to have a truck these boys will have to beat if they want to win here at Eldora.
Turner Scott Motorsports has put some reinforcement in the right side of that truck. As much as he has been off the wall and still running as strong as he is.
Really want to keep my eye on that truck of Kyle Larson running outside right there in the 5th spot. Watch Ron Hornaday.
Might have come out from under the 54 truck.
It looked like the 54. This is Joey Coulter we're riding along with.
Oh, and there's a piece right there. It's out of one of the BKR trucks. Looks like the 19 of Tyler Reddick. Watch Kyle Larson here.
Flying up in the air.
He hits the debris, and then does he hit the wall afterwards?
He's going to bounce off the wall right there.
Just coming out of turn number 4. So under competition or caution one more time in the Mud Summer Classic. Green flag just going back in the air, and they're 2 and 3 wide as they battle for the lead going down the backstretch.
How about Kyle Larson drives all the way down to the inside of the racetrack. Now he's side by side with Jeb Burton for 4th.
Look at John Hunter Nemechek. He's driving to the bottom of the track, trying to get around Kenny Schrader.
Trying to find that grip as they work their way back out onto the front stretch. In front of this field, Darrell Wallace Jr., Ron Hornaday running 2nd. Ty Dillon up to the 3rd spot. Dillon all over the back bumper of Ron Hornaday, and here comes Kyle Larson in the 32.
How about 3 wide behind them, 2 rows deep.
Coming out of turn number 4. Top 4 spots. Hornaday following after Darrell Wallace Jr. Ty Dillon holding on to 3rd. Larson is 4th. Back in the 5th position, Jeb Burton.
Really impressed.
2 and 3 wide back behind them.
Really impressed with the job that John Hunter Nemechek has done. He's up into the top 10 right now, running in the 7th spot, making some ground up, trying to pull up beside Jeb Burton.
And look how low he's running. He's as low as we've seen anybody this whole race. He's finding some grip down there, and it won't take long for these other racers to fall in behind him.
Take a look at that off of Austin Dillon's bumper as he looks over at Eric Jones.
Eric had a flat tire, spun out, and then spun out again, and right now running in the 12th spot.
But he spun out on his qualifying lap when the next lap got the pole. So if he wins tonight,
spin and win.
We'll know what his key is.
Pretty wide.
Timothy Peters making a move on that low side. I don't really understand John Hunter bailing on the low side. He drove by those guys and went straight to the top.
Got up to the 6th spot in front of the 29 of Ryan Blaney.
And look who's down there now. Timothy Peters well on the bottom of the racetrack. And he's going to drive up beside Nemechek.
And Schrader watching all that as he moves up the track a little bit. Ryan Blaney in the 29 running the middle line now.
Looks like that bottom works a little bit better down in 3 and 4.
Ty Dillon has made his way up into the top 3. Bob Dillner.
He is one of the best trucks on the racetrack right now. He moved from 13th, and he just gave up 2nd ago in a torrid battle with Ron Hornaday. But he was reporting that that truck was just a little bit too loose before the break. So his crew chief, Danny Stockman, put 4 tires on it and made an air pressure adjustment. But that's it. Ty Dillon right now pacing himself in that 3rd spot, Hermie.
Well, Bob, Kyle Larson is chasing the 3 truck on the racetrack, and he just bounced off the wall a couple laps ago, as we saw. Now, his crew chief is Mike Hillman Jr., and the only thing Mike was concerned about was the right front. He asked Kyle a couple times, is your steering wheel still set like you said it? He wanted to make sure the toe end didn't have damage. Once Kyle said, yeah, we're good to go, no more talk about that crash. He is going to the inside of the 3 for position, Ray.
Matt Crafton knew there was something wicked wrong with his Menards Toyota. He said it was like riding a dolphin in the water. Up and down, the nose jamming into the ground. So when he came in at the competition caution, they found out they had a broken right rear shock. The team replaced it, pulled a couple rubbers, and he has now moved from 17th up to 14th. He's heading right and back in the right direction.
Coming up on his teammate, Johnny Sauter.
And you remember also, Kyle Larson said his truck wasn't exactly like he liked it for most of the day. He said, I got to get some good adjustments from my crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr., so that I can get up there and contend with these guys after coming to pit road. That truck is really fast now. He's trying to battle for the lead. Look at Matt Crafton. He's down on the inside of Joey Coulter, trying to race up into the top 12.
Crafton running that middle line now. Joey Coulter just a line above him, and Johnny Sauter up against the wall.
I like the very bottom, especially down there in 3 and 4 where Matt Crafton is right now.
Crafton finding some grip down there. Can he make the pass on Coulter?
It doesn't appear that the bottom is quite as good down in 1 and 2 as it is in 3 and 4. Let's see what Crafton can do on exit of 2.
Out of 2, he has the advantage over his teammate, and now Johnny Sauter's been able to get back up on the outside of him.
About one more gain like that, and Crafton will have Sauter cleared.
Yeah, that's just how you have to be so patient when you run that lower line like that. It's so easy to slide in there just a little too hard and lose all your momentum that you're gaining on the exit.
Those two were fighting for the 13th spot. The 30 running in the second position continues to climb that little almost cushion that's right up against the wall. And moments ago, he got into the wall pretty hard again.
That's right where he hit it earlier in the race. And look how it just turns that truck sideways on the straightaway.
And never backs off the throttle and holds on to that second spot.
Saw the sparks flying as he bounced off of the wall coming out of turn number 4. Here comes Ty Dillon looking to the inside now, trying to take that second spot away.
See, Kyle Larson's going to close that hole up. He's not going to give Ty Dillon any room to get back in there.
Kyle Larson trying to steal the 3rd position away from Ty Dillon, who got out of line, trying to take advantage of a little bit lower line and see if he could find some grip.
Remember, these guys race together on a weekly basis in the Nationwide Series, as well as Kyle Larson racing Ty's older brother Austin for the Rookie of the Year battle in the Cup Series.
Ty Dillon looking very impressive here on dirt, but may have just lost 3rd position by getting out of line. Kyle Larson trying to take that position away. He dives down to the bottom of the track. He'll try to take second away from Ron Hornaday. The slide job works for the 32 of Larson. Now they're 3 wide for second.
Hornaday does not like the people doing the slide job on him.
All the way up to the wall goes Kyle Larson. Hornaday takes a position back. Ty Dillon gets into Kyle Larson, spins him around. They get turned back around the right direction. Kyle Larson facing the right way, but the caution comes out.
No caution.
No, the caution's not going to come out.
What about that? Kyle Larson gets spun around. Still in the top 5.
See a little bit of damage to the front end of that Glad truck.
Eric Jones has problems over in 3 and 4. Looks like another flat tire, possibly for the 51 truck.
He looks like right tire.
Ty Dillon just got into the wall. The caution comes out. Left rear tire down for Ty Dillon.
It's a heck of a day at sea, sir. Everything started going all crazy.
Ty Dillon gets into the back of the 32. Around goes Kyle Larson. You see the damage to the right front of that truck. Then, just recently, maybe from that contact, the tire goes down on the 3.
Check this out. Hornaday makes the slide job, pays back the slide job. Larson looks like he shoots in the corner just a little bit too hard into the wall, loses his momentum, and Ty Dillon was just right there and hit him.
And that's what cut his left rear tire down when he went around the outside of Kyle Larson.
Yep, caught that left rear tire with the front of the 32.
Right at the last instant, right there, and that's what cut down that left rear tire for Ty Dillon.
So Ty Dillon is on pit road. You'll have to change the left side tires. It looks like they might change all 4 tires. Bob Diller.
Danny Stockman, the crew chief, discussed with the official and said, we can change 4 tires. So that's what they're doing, despite just having a left rear flat. That truck's so good for Ty Dillon around this racetrack. Obviously, contact with Kyle Larson, that's what caused the left rear flat, but they will change all 4 tires, no adjustments, Ray.
The damage on Eric Jones' truck is a lot more severe than the first time when he just had a flat tire. He said he has walloped the right front caliper really badly. They'll have to try to pick the truck up to jack it up. They've got that done now. His Toyota Care Tundra said they may have to make a major adjustment here. They've got the tire off, taking a look under the front there to see if they've got to close off the brake line on that right front. We'll keep you updated on what they've got to do.
So a great battle in the top 4. Darrell Wallace Jr. had moved out of the mayhem that was taking place behind him. But for the 3rd position, Kyle Larson, Ty Dillon fighting it out. Under the lights for the Bud Summer Classic at Eldora Speedway. The event that everyone marks on their calendars as NASCAR has come back to dirt. 58 laps remaining in this segment. We will go to lap 110, and 93 laps have been complete. 3 of Ty Dillon came onto pit road because of a left rear tire that was cut down. He was running up in the top 4. Take a look at this pit stop.
Watch the fuel man.
Yep,
he's definitely going to engage, and the rule says no fueling other than on the competition caution.
It says that you're not supposed to be able to change tires or add fuel unless it's a competition caution. But we have seen when a tire gets cut down, you can change that tire or that side of tires, and we've seen that previously.
I think just that one tire is what they should be allowed to change. So they should have been allowed to change that left rear tire. We saw Eric Jones only change the right front tire early in the first segment when he had a flat right front.
I don't understand that.
So I think NASCAR is looking at this. Danny Stockman, the crew chief, there on the right. He's been talking with the officials.
You can see Kyle Larson gets a little deep into the corner, into the wall, and when he comes off the wall, Ty's right there. That's just a dirt track racing deal. But then Larson hits Dillon's left rear, excuse me, and around goes Larson. Right there, he cuts Dillon's left rear tire.
So 4 fresh tires on the 3. And you see Eric Jones back in the garage area in the infield.
It'll be a tough break for them in the truck owner points. We're hearing that they're.
Yep, NASCAR's posting the 3 right now, and Danny Stockman's trying to lobby his case.
They may have allowed the 4 tire change for some reason, which would have been a change in policy, but the fuel thing was a different story. Probably just a reflex by the fuel man to go ahead and put fuel in. The 3 truck is now coming down pit road. I would assume that he will be held on pit road here.
Back on, he's right here, guys.
I think they're going to put on the
back on in the right rear.
I think they're making them change back to the old tires, but I don't know what they're going to do about the fuel. I guess they're letting them make this change because maybe the official didn't. Maybe the official approved the changes. Bob, what are you hearing down there?
Well, here's what happened. An official actually told Danny Stockman the wrong thing when Danny Stockman asked if he could change 4 tires. So the official said, hey, I made the mistake. He talked to Danny Stockman. So what they did is they brought the truck back in. They put the right rear back on it that was on it before they made that tire change, as well as the left front. So technically, they only changed those 2 tires during this pit stop sequence. So a little convoluted, a little confusing, but the official admitted to making a mistake, and they have corrected it with the 3 truck.
I guess undoubtedly they're going to give him a pass on the fuel as well, because we definitely saw the fuel man put fuel in that truck.
Norm Benning coming off of pit road as
they've got to come in to take the right rear tire off. They've not done the right rear tire yet. There was one lug nut missing on the left front, so they're going to put the right rear tire on that they took off on the pit stop.
Was the right front damaged too in that accident, and that's why they're letting them leave the new right front on it?
Now, because of adding fuel, this is where they're penalizing the 3 team. Danny Stockman's not appreciating this, but that was the rules. It was printed up on the rule sheet that they received. Bob Dillner.
Yeah, a lot of discussion down here with Ty Dillon, Danny Stockman, and the officials down here, but because they did indeed add that fuel, and that was never part of the conversation with the official initially. The tires were part of the discussion. That was a mistake. But right now, Danny Stockman talking to 2 officials down here, and it is pretty heated about the fact that they did add fuel. It was a mistake, and they had penalized him a lap for it.
Well, the good news is right now, Ty is the only truck 1 lap down, I believe. So if the caution flag were to come out, and we know the caution flag is going to come out in a few laps, that he will get the free pass.
13 laps until we get to the next competition caution. Darrell Wallace Jr. in front. Ron Hornaday running second. Kyle Larson has made his way up to 3rd, but has that damage to the right front fender. Jeff Burton, Ryan Blaney, your top 5. Ray Dunlap.
The 51 was behind the wall a while, guys. They actually just busted the corner where the caliper and the line come together, so they were able to put a new fitting on there. They put in some brake fluid. He pumped it up. He said, now we're good to go. But at that time, he only had rear brakes, and that was going to be tough. So they fixed it, but he's a number of laps down. Hermie?
Ray, the 32, Kyle Larson, a lot of damage to the right front and the nose of the truck. Crew Chief Mike Hillman came and looked at our monitor, said it was okay, told Kyle Larson they're not going to pit, they're going to stay on the racetrack.
Green flag back in the air. Great restart for Darrell Wallace Jr. And how about Kyle Larson trying to take second away in turns 1 and 2?
Yeah, Ron Hornaday really didn't get a very good start, so Kyle Larson jumped down to the inside. How about Ryan Blaney, another 4 wide?
John Hunter Nemechek trying to break into the top 4.
Look at Ryan Blaney getting a little bit of grip down there on the bottom.
It works. He moves up into the 4th spot. Jeff Burton into 3rd. Ron Hornaday trying to hang on to 2nd.
See a lot of grip up off the bottom there on 2, and look at Ryan Blaney take advantage of that. They're going to clear for the moment Kyle Larson, see if he can get off 4 like he did 2 and gain even more ground.
If he can get in front of that 13 of Jeff Burton, that would be huge for Ryan Blaney.
9 laps away from our competition caution, the second one of the night. Darrell Wallace Jr. out front, Ron Hornaday, Jeff Burton, and it's Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney fighting for the 4th spot.
What about this dominating performance that Darrell Wallace Jr. is putting on? He's led over 50 laps of this baby.
Very impressive, looking for his first multiple win season in the Camping World Truck Series. He has 2 wins already in his career. Looking to keep Kyle Busch Motorsports in victory lane. 7 of the 9 races have been won by KBM.
Did you see that? Johnny Sauter and Tyler Reddick both went inside of Kenny Schrader. Matt Crafton was like, there's action all over the place. This is an amazing race.
Great racetrack. Take a look at the 19 of Tyler Reddick.
There really wasn't any room to do what he did, and he made it work anyway.
How's that happen?
Drove it down even harder and able to make it stick.
What a great view out of the back of that 19 truck of Tyler Reddick at Kenny Schrader.
Under 6 laps to go before our next competition caution. Darrell Wallace Jr., Ron Hornaday, Jeff Burton, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, your top 5. John Hunter Nemechek, 6. Timothy Peterson's in the 7th spot. Tyler Reddick is 8th. Matt Crafton 9th, and Kenny Schrader 10th.
Remember last year, Timothy Peters was pretty quiet, ended up with a top 10 finish here in this dirt track race.
Matt Crafton coming into this race, your points leader, but just by 2 over Ryan Blaney. Right now, Blaney running in the 5th spot. He would be taking away the points lead. And we leave Eldora if he can hang on.
Kyle Larson all over the back of Jeff Burton's 13 truck.
What about Larson? He got into that crash. He tore his nose up, but still challenging for that 3rd spot.
I think it's damaged that truck, Michael, but I don't think they feel like they can afford to give up the track position.
Kyle Larson still riding right up against the wall. Darrell Wallace Jr. trying to hang on. Just 3 laps to go until the competition caution. The big question is, will anyone chance it and come to pit road under this competition caution coming up? Or will they all stick with what they've got?
I think you got to stay out, Mikey, don't you?
I think so, Phil. We see that we haven't seen anybody really make a huge run through the field other than Ty Dillon early in the race. There's been some guys make some progress, but as strong of a truck that Bubba Wallace has, I don't see how he can give up that lead.
Ty's going to have nothing to lose if he can get the free pass. There's no reason for him not to come down pit road. Go ahead and put 4 tires on. He'll have the freshest tires in the field. Not sure if it's going to be enough in 40 laps for him to overcome the track position.
You know, we talk about the guys, the leaders running right against the wall. Well, Matt Crafton's running against the wall also.
The other one.
The other one. He's had his truck down on the bottom of this track since the word go. He's making a bit of progress. He's been able to drive into the top 10.
But he's kind of plateaued out there in the 8th or 9th spot.
But it's been slow treading. He's had to really be patient.
Competition yellow.
Competition caution has come out once again. So now the strategy will come into play. We'll see Ty Dillon. I'm sure he will get the free pass from NASCAR because he is the highest scored truck that is a lap down. So he will be back on the lead lap. How far back in this group would you decide, okay, it's better to come in and maybe make an adjustment or put tires on?
I don't know, maybe outside the top 15 or something like that, possibly.
You know, Schrader's a guy you have to look at. He only runs every now and then. All he's here to do is win. His truck obviously isn't in shape to win right now. Maybe he pits.
Kenny Schrader running in the 9th position. Austin Dillon back there in 12th. Potentially he would make a move to pit road. Joey Coulter in the 14th spot. Has been very good on dirt in the past.
Coulter's an interesting story. Never ran much dirt growing up, Rick, and he heard about the race at Eldora.
It hikes like, look at how much it hikes. If it's sway something.
He doesn't like that truck, you know. It hadn't handled well for him, and he's talking about maybe a sway bar issue or possibly a shock because the thing's hiking up when he cuts the wheels. What are they saying in the pit, Bob?
Well, initially they thought the power steering was gone on that truck, and he said it's like the truck is catching. You know, it catches in the middle of the corner and it just stops steering for a second. And then now they think they might have a shock or a spring busted on the left front. There's a lot of conversation going on between Austin Dillon and his crew chief, Nick Harrison, right now. They're debating about whether or not, you know, to come down pit road right now to take a look at it and whether or not he could survive the rest of the distance. So a lot of conversation right now, guys.
A lot of decisions to be made, too. Also, Bob, how far back in the field do you decide to come to pit road? I talked to Jerry Baxter down in the pits earlier today, and his plan was definitely to stay out right here. So we'll see if Jerry was being honest with Uncle Mike.
Well, maybe the plans have changed.
Well, pit road is open and Bubba's not going anywhere near it, but Kyle Larson looks like he is.
He's down low.
No, he's gonna stay out.
Track.
Looks like everybody's faking now coming down pit road. Matt
Crafton makes the move.
And there's
so does Austin Dillon.
Joey Coulter can't make up his mind.
Bob Dillner.
Austin Dillon was running outside the top 10, so they have nothing to lose. They want to talk about this situation with that catch in the wheel in the middle of the corner to find out exactly what it is and pinpoint that, but it'll be a 2-tire stop certainly for Austin Dillon during this pit stop. Actually now a 4-tire stop. They will change all 4 tires on this machine and then send that 2 truck out there, but conversation right now between the two, but they have not diagnosed the problem, Ray.
Matt Crafton said, we aren't good enough to win right now. Let's try something. And they said, we'll do that. We want to look this suspension over again one time. They'll take a tear off the windshield, make sure that the front of the grill is clean, and put 4 tires on this thing for Matt Crafton. They gave up a top 10 running spot, but they want to try to win.
In the big picture, he was racing against Ryan Blaney for a championship. Blaney stays on the track in 5th.
Is back. The Mud Summer Classic. We are 2 segments down, 1 to go. 110, now 112 laps complete in this race. Let's give you a little bit look at the highlights, what we've seen. That's Ryan Blaney in the number 29, hitting the wall early in the race, chasing down Darrell Wallace Jr., who's been out front for much of the race tonight. That is our pole sitter in the 51, Eric Jones. Eric Jones spinning there, having a lot of issues. A disappointing night for him, but his teammate, we mentioned, the 54, Darrell Wallace Jr., taking the lead from the veteran, 56-year-old Ron Hornaday. It's 20-year-old Darrell Wallace Jr. out front. That's Ty Dillon in the number 3. A lot of dirt experience getting into that veteran there. A little kiss for Ron Hornaday. And then, look at this. Ty Dillon in that 3. Making contact with the rear end of the 32, Kyle Larson. And Kyle Larson had been steaming his way up through the field. So had Ty Dillon at that point. Ty Dillon having trouble on the track as well. But again, our leader, Darrell Wallace Jr. Quite a night. 237 stripes. That's the stripe count here at Eldora Speedway. And one thing I want to note, standing here on top of the building that overlooks the front stretch here at Eldora Speedway, when we've seen some great action. At one moment in that second segment, we saw young John Hunter Nemechek, 17 years old with no dirt experience, squeeze his way between Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, making his way up front. Tony Stewart, who was standing just a few feet away from me on top of this building, came up to me and said, now that is legitimate four-wide racing. He had a big smile on his face, as do most of these fans. A packed house here at Eldora Speedway. Bob?
Krista, a lot of emotion in Ty Dillon's pit earlier. Danny Stockman is the crew chief. What was the confusion about there from your team and what NASCAR officials were talking to you about?
The confusion to start with was whether we were allowed to put 4 tires on or 2. And we thought we had a right front flat, and we knew we had a left rear flat, and we did. We had a right front and left rear, and the official told us we were able to put 4 tires on, so we did. And we come back in and took the left front and right rear off. You know, we're racing tires, and when you do that stuff, you get mixed match tires, and it's just unfortunate. We got a really good hot rod here, and had a shot to win, I thought, but we ain't giving up yet. We're going to the front here.
Was there just miscommunication on the fact that you added fuel, and that's where indeed the penalty came from?
Yeah, that's where the penalty come from, was adding fuel. They held us a lap there, but that's all behind us. We got a lot of trucks in front of us, and we're gonna see what we can do here.
Krista, Ty Dillon, 27th, 1 lap down.
Yeah, a lot of frustration for that team. Ty Dillon having one of the best trucks out here, but who will win tonight? The answer is coming up next.
With the Mud Summer Classic, the final segment. 36 laps remaining. And this is the second annual Mud Summer Classic from Eldora Speedway.
3 wide right now for the 4th spot. There was for a moment. How about Austin Dillon trying to make his way back towards the front? There's Matt Crafton right on the bottom of the racetrack where he's been most of this race.
Out in front of the field, Darrell Wallace Jr. running comfortably right up against the wall. Ron Hornaday holding on to second. Kyle Larson is third. Jeff Burton fourth.
Ryan Blaney's fifth, and Ryan did some serious racing on the lap after the restart to get to the bottom of the track and grab a spot. He seems to have a really fast truck field, one of the few guys that can go low and make things happen. Got to keep our eye on Ty Dillon and Matt Crafton pitting, trying to make something happen for their trucks.
As well as Austin Dillon, too. There's Austin in front of Matt Crafton down on the bottom.
Kyle Larson a little bit quicker. Here's the restart. Jeff Burton was jumping way down low, but it ended up being Ryan Blaney that chose the lowest line.
And look at Hornaday. He almost squeezes Bubba Wallace into the outside wall.
And right into the back of Darrell Wallace Jr. was that 32 of Kyle Larson. That was on the restart. And for second, here comes Kyle Larson. He'll make the pass on Hornaday. Hornaday's going to try to grab it back. He goes to the bottom. Tries the slide job. Will he have room? Kyle Larson checks up. Now gets back into the gas, trying to take it back. The fight for second is on. Larson on the bottom of the racetrack. Hornaday drives him down low, then back up to the wall. They're side by side for second.
Hornaday bouncing off the wall a couple times. Didn't slow his momentum at all.
Now Kyle Larson tucks back in behind him. Jeff Burton holding on to that 4th spot. Ryan Blaney is 5th.
And if you're Darrell Wallace Jr. looking in your mirror and seeing those 2 guys fighting like that, that is the best thing you could see in the whole world. He knows Larson's going to be tough as this race winds down. He gets around Hornaday and have another restart. Larson could cause a lot of problems for Bubba Wallace.
Once again, here goes Kyle Larson. Easily will take second away from Hornaday. Will Hornaday try to go back by as Larson gets back into the wall? He's not going to have enough. But here he goes once again. 3 wide for second.
Jeb Bird says, let me get in on the fun.
Larson keeps the momentum up on the high side. Can he hold on to second? He does. Jeff Burton now will try to knock off that 30 and get into the 3rd spot.
And oh, by the way, these guys are teammates, the 32 of Larson, the 30 Hornaday. And we talked about 237 Eldora stripes. That was just Kyle Larson. 237 for him.
Now let's see if he can close it down.
The gap between 1 and 2 is just under 2 seconds. 1.7 seconds last time they went by. He has 28 laps to go. Can he reel him in? Or will Bubba Wallace win again in the Camping World Truck Series?
How about John Hunter Nemechek right there, solidly in the 6th spot behind Ryan Blaney. Ty Dillon bouncing off the wall in front of his brother Austin. Ty's made his way up just outside the top 10, racing Matt Crafton now.
Crafton trying to hold on to that 11th spot.
The last time by, our second place driver, Kyle Larson, a full 3.5 tenths faster than our leader, Bubba Wallace. I knew when he got that place position away from Hornaday, he would put a charge on him.
And how about the Dillons right now? Running 12th and 13th, Bob.
And Rick, Ty Dillon is on the move right now. He's told Danny Stockman before they took the green, they received the lucky dog back on the lead lap, pressing for a top 10, that they still think they could contend for the win. But as far as Austin Dillon, we talked about all the problems. They went up under the hood to see what it was. A broken Heim joint on the suspension in the left front. That is an ill-handling truck right now.
The gap has closed. The 32 of Kyle Larson now is on the back bumper of that 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. Darrell Wallace Jr. searching the track, trying to find some grip. All he sees in his rearview mirror is the 32 of Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson found some grip right up next to the outside wall.
We saw how Kyle Larson was able to do the slide job on Ron Hornaday. Will he try the same move on Darrell Wallace Jr. to get the lead?
Here he comes right here.
Into turn 1. Tries the slide job. Makes the pass into the wall. Here comes Bubba Wallace on the inside. Side by side, the fans are on their feet. Caution comes out.
There was a truck turnaround right there, right in front of them as they raced off of turn 2.
How could that truck possibly withstand?
They're still racing.
They haven't decided who's going to have the lead yet.
Out, back it down.
Yeah, it isn't up to them to decide. That's a NASCAR call. I don't understand their. Well, I guess you're getting into the moment.
Yeah,
you can't
they
just
were
come
in the
off
moment.
the gas. How does that 32 truck stand? That big bounce into the wall. That thing bounced off the ground a foot.
He's going to knock the nose off that truck.
When the caution came out, we'll have to find out who was in front of who.
Look at that.
Into the wall, but he still had the advantage. Down the back stretch they go as that truck was right there.
Oh, by the way, listen.
As soon as he hit the wall, he gassed it up.
Unbelievable.
And they're still arguing over who was the leader. Darrell Wallace Jr. might pass the pace truck.
Here comes the battle for the lead.
Jody Knowles in the 80 was facing the wrong way.
Check out my right side.
It's messed up, Kyle.
Stay off the wall here for me.
And NASCAR has let us know the 32 is your race leader, so he will choose either the inside or outside line.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're out the last round of the place, but it'll be all right.
Look at the damage on the right side of the 32. Camping World, 20 to go. We have reached that mark. Can you believe it's just 20 to go?
And by the way, the guy that's leading with 20 to go has just had a crash.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about scrapes and rubs along this Rosberg wall, but that was a crash. I mean, he hit the wall and bounced off the ground.
Yeah, the right rear is sticking out from the quarter panel. He's got damage to the left rear. He's got damage to the right front. And he's your race leader. Hermie Sadler.
Well, Mike Hillman, I thought several times ago you'd have that truck down pit road to fix the damage, but your driver's going to the front. He said if I get to second, I can get it done. That much confidence in your driver?
I do. I got all the confidence in the world. Kyle Larson, everybody that works their butts off here at Turner Scott Motorsports. You know, it's nice to be up front and have a blast, and we'll see how this all shakes out right here.
Well, he dove bomb to the bottom, got the lead, and now can he hold him, Ray?
Jerry Baxter's crew chief for Bubba Wallace. What have you told your driver? It's pretty wild out there.
Just told him to be smart. You know, Larson's used up a lot of his car. Keeps banging that thing off the fence. So, you know, that ain't going to happen all night long. Something's going to happen eventually here. So we just got to keep looking at the big picture, too. We need to keep top fiving him to death. And he's doing a great job. I'm so proud of him. He's wheeling the Tundra tonight.
All right. He's talking about points. I think Bubba's talking about a trophy at Eldora.
And so Kyle Larson chooses the outside line. Green flag back in the air.
They're all going to dive bomb him.
And hard into turn 1 and 2. Darrell Wallace Jr. steals the lead away. Here comes Hornaday. Kyle Larson hanging on to that outside line. He'll hold on to second.
Holy cow, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. He has wrecked his truck, and he lost the lead, but yet Kyle Larson's still in hot pursuit of Bubba Wallace.
They were 3 wide for the 3rd spot. Hornaday trying to hang on to it. Ryan Blaney on the inside. Jeb Burton back there. John Hunter Nemechek, a very impressive night, as well as Ken Schrader making his way up and challenging for a top 5 spot.
Ty Dillon also making his way up into the top 10. Kyle Larson into the wall once again, 295 times
I was
now.
going to say, that's pretty much happening every lap.
There's Ty Dillon, right side of your screen, racing Johnny Sauter for the 8th position.
Darrell Wallace Jr. on the restart grabs the lead away from Kyle Larson as they cross the stripe. Just 15 laps of racing to go.
You know, when Wallace was able to get around Larson on that start and Kyle got such a bad start, I thought maybe the toe end was knocked off on that truck and he would just fade gracefully. Well, it is knocked off, I'm sure of it. You can't hit the wall that hard, but he's doing everything but fading gracefully.
Trying to hang on to the back bumper of that 54, Darrell Wallace Jr. putting together some impressive laps, lap after lap.
Bubba Wallace is running 2 or 3 tenths of a second faster than he was when Kyle Larson chased him down and took over the lead.
Working their way through 3 and 4. The battle now for the 5th spot. Here comes Kenny Schrader.
What about this run Schrader's making late in the going?
Kenny Schrader has taken 5th away from the 13 of Jeb Burton. Here comes John Hunter Nemechek looking to the inside of Burton as well. As the laps wind down, the gap closes once again between the 54 and the 32. Kyle Larson, imagine that, he bounced off the wall again. These two are fighting for position. It was Ken Schrader who had it. John Hunter Nemechek was trying to take it away. And how about the 3 of Ty Dillon? Right back in the mix. He's in the 8th spot.
Danny Stockman said they were going to pass a lot of trucks coming to the front. He's all the way up to 8.
Yeah, and he's going for 7th. He's on the inside of Jeb Burton coming off turn 4.
And the 32 continues to bounce off the wall. He did it again going into turn 1. And there's another replay on the right side where he hits it again.
He's still on the gas, though.
He was 2nd last year. He said it was painful running 2nd here. He wanted to win so bad. You can see that passion. You can see that desire as he's just doing everything he can to close in on Bubba Wallace.
The sheet metal on that truck is painful right now. He has beat the right side of that truck almost completely off as he is using everything in his power to reel in that 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr.
But you got to give credit to Darrell Wallace Jr. He's running faster lap times than Kyle Larson was running when he ran Bubba down. So Bubba's made an adjustment inside that truck. He's figured out where some grip is, and he's going to town.
I think he moved up the racetrack where Kyle Larson was running, about a half a truck width up the racetrack, and it's given some more speed.
There's Austin Dillon in the middle, 3 wide. Matt Crafton in the 88 on the outside. Tyler Reddick in the 19 on the inside.
That's a 3-way battle for the 10th spot right there.
And the field continuing to work around this half-mile dirt oval at Eldora Speedway. Under 8 laps of racing to go. The top 2 coming out of turn number 4. It'll be 7 to go now for Darrell Wallace Jr.
I think Kyle Larson's hitting the wall 2 or 3 times a corner.
I thought you were going to say a lap, Phil, and I think it's more than that. I'm going to go with you on 2 or 3 times a corner.
With time running out, the gap widens between Kyle Larson and Darrell Wallace Jr. Can Darrell Wallace Jr. win at another historic track? His first win came at Martinsville a year ago.
That time by, the fastest truck on the track is Kyle Larson. They're able to cut about 2 tenths off that lead of Darrell Wallace Jr.
Well, right now, Bubba Wallace said, please, let's stay green. Kyle Larson bounces off the fence a couple more times.
And closes in even more. He's there again.
The Camping World Truck Series went back to Gateway this year. And in that visit, it was the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. that went to victory lane. He was able to celebrate at the arch, and now he wants to celebrate on the dirt, but he has got a very hungry Kyle Larson beating down his back bumper and the wall. That time by 4 laps of racing to go. As quickly as they are turning laps, they're closing in on the back of the field.
This is amazing. Oh,
Larson into the wall hard again.
That had to do him in, didn't it?
You would think so.
He stays in the gas. 3 laps of racing to go.
That might be just enough gap for Bubba Wallace here.
The fans know something big is about to happen. Everyone on their feet for the final 3 laps. Can Darrell Wallace Jr. hang on, get his 3rd career win? Or will it be Kyle Larson, who came back to Eldora wanting to get that victory?
Oh, that's it.
Slams off the wall coming out of turn number 4. That might be all he's got. 2 laps of racing to go, and it looks as though the right front broke on Kyle Larson's truck. Can he limp around? Here comes Ron Hornaday to take 2nd away.
What an effort, though.
Darrell Wallace Jr. has a full straightaway in front of Ron Hornaday. The white flag in the air. Darrell Wallace Jr. has put on a clinic here at Eldora Speedway on dirt. He has been out front for 97 laps. The 98th is coming now. Checkered flag for Darrell Wallace Jr.
Holy cow! Eldora! No way!
Darrell Wallace Jr. Bubba wins at the historic Eldora Speedway.
I'm speechless. That's the most energy-driven run to the checker. Kyle Larson, he was doing everything he could possibly do to get the win, and yet Bubba sat there and remained calm in that cab of that pickup truck and was able to drive to victory lane.
3rd career win for Darrell Wallace Jr. And 8 out of 10 races in the 2014 season have been won by Kyle Busch Motorsports. Ray Dunlap.
Standing by with Jerry Baxter, winning crew chief. Congratulations. Look, the Martinsville win was a big one, obviously. But you guys have won at Eldora. How did you pull it off?
I'm at a loss right here. I got to tell you, our whole team, you know, KBM, all this Toyota Tundras, they've just been great every race. We worked really hard this whole winter, and man, our drivers are doing great. I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled.
KBM has won 11 of the last 15 races in the Camping World Truck Series. That's amazing.
It's domination. We saw it out of Kevin Harvick Incorporated a couple years back when they were really showing off, getting to victory lane almost every other race. But now it's Kyle Busch Motorsports and Darrell Wallace Jr. 2 of Kyle Larson. He'll do it again.
That was the pass for the win right there. That got him to victory lane. Kyle Larson did everything he could to try to chase him down, get that lead back, but at the end it was all Bubba Wallace.
Guts on the restart, pay off, and now the glory. Let's go to victory lane and Ray Dunlap.
He had a win at St. Louis. He had a 2nd at Kentucky. He won the pole at Iowa. And now today, Bubba Wallace picks up his 3rd career win in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Did you ever think you were going to win? Did you ever think you were going to win a race on dirt?
No, I didn't.
How'd you do it?
These guys right here, all behind me. God, that's so cool. On dirt, Eldora. I got frustrated earlier. Jerry come in the truck just now and says, "Is that you that got frustrated at not knowing how to figure it out?" And I was like, "No, that wasn't me. That was somebody else." So, God, man. Really? Eldora? Huge thanks to these guys here, Toyota, Coca-Cola, Alpine Stars, Beam Designs, the whole 9, NASCAR, Tony Stewart and his whole staff, Roger Slack, we go way back. It's awesome here. So, got this awesome gold shovel, but the cool thing about it is I came into this like kind of skeptical. I knew we finished top 5 last year, top 7, run top 5 all night. And I was worried about the Toyota streak, not to lie. And to be able to come out here, Eric Jones set on the pole. Another shout out to KBM. Toyota keeping the streak alive. So now we can go back to a Pocono asphalt racetrack and really keep that streak going now. So huge thanks to everybody right here.
But the season started out really poorly. You guys were kind of in a funk and you didn't know for sure how it was going to turn around. What's been the difference?
I think my crew chief showed up, so that was no. It's just the trials and tribulations that we go through, and this team, they never give up. And we had a lot of downs last year, and I'm over getting upset about those. We talked about Iowa. We moved on from it, and I said we're going to bounce back. Did I not say we're going to bounce back right here in the parade laps? And this is a hell of a way to bounce back. So I wish my mom was here, but this is a good luck streak. She hasn't won at Martinsville. She wasn't at Martinsville. She wasn't at Gateway. She ain't coming in no more.
Bubba Wallace got the golden shovel. He'll be digging the dirt on the front stretch in a bit, guys.
What an incredible battle it was. It was not an easy win for Darrell Wallace Jr. He had one of the best on dirt right on his back bumper.
Till right there. He just got in a little hot, slid the front tires, and that got that truck hard in the outside wall. He had hit it really hard 100 times, Phil?
At least 100 times.
But that last one was the one that did him in.
And so many times he got into the wall. This is what he had to say just as he got into the wall the last time.
I'm sorry, guys. Really sorry.
It's all good. They knew he was here. We took a shot at him. We'll get another shot at these boys at Pocono. Yes, sir.
Hermie.
Well, Kyle, you pushed this Chevrolet to the limit and one step over the limit trying to get to victory lane. Tremendous effort. Your thoughts?
I'd say it's a few steps over the limit. Yeah, thanks to Turner Scott Motorsports for first off building the strong truck to make it last that long. Stood here for about 10 minutes waiting to do the interview. The longer I waited, the more I realized how stupid I was driving. So sucks, but Darrell did a really good job. He was fast all week or all day today, and he ran close to the wall the whole time and never really hit it. And I slid him for the lead there, and I plowed the wall pretty hard. I'm not sure if that, I'm sure it did damage the truck a little bit, but after that restart, it's just, I kept getting sucked into the fence every time I'd get to the cushion, and I don't know why or what, but frustrating. But thanks to Glad for letting me come here and race on dirt. It's probably the only time I'll get to run on dirt all year, so sucks I couldn't get them a win, but once again, hats off to Darrell. Thanks to Turner Scott Motorsports and everybody that put this deal together. I really didn't think we were that good, so I was surprised that we were battling for the lead there at the end. We were terrible in the beginning, and I don't know if the track came to us a little bit. I didn't think it changed a whole lot, but we seem to get better and better, but sucks.
Another second place, but Kyle Larson will be back in this truck. Not a second place, almost ran second almost all night. He'll be back in this truck at Pocono next week. Same truck, same sponsor at Pocono.
Yeah, amazingly enough, Kyle Larson ends up in the 26th position, but it has been dominating all of 2014. 8 out of the 10 Camping World Truck Series races, it has been Kyle Busch Motorsports in victory lane. Kyle Busch, he's won 5. Darrell Wallace Jr. has 2. Eric Jones has another one. And now it's Darrell Wallace Jr. celebrating in victory lane.